Hello viewers, my name is Adam.
And I'm Aaron.
And this is Seeking Media Productions. In this video, this is the Star Wars The Last Jedi review.
We have been working our way to this point for quite some time, and we are finally here.
So, going into this movie, we watched it on a Sunday of the same week it came out, thankfully, because just to avoid spoilers.
Mm-hmm. Man, that was difficult in and of itself.
Dodge spoilers. Okay. And though we're hearing what people were, how they feel about the movie going into it, that critics, of course, are going to flip and just...
They went goo gaga.
Anything Disney they love.
And you know what, let's talk about that for a hot second. There's a serious problem that's starting to develop. It's been there, it's definitely been there, but it's becoming more prevalent each day that these big name movies, especially big name movies coming out of Disney, are concerned. And it's like, you were saying one thing about one film, praising it, and then when another movie from another competing studio comes out, you want to go all in on it.
And that's just unfair, dishonest, and we don't know. By the time we watch the movie, when people actually form their own opinions, people are like, what type of movie were you watching?
Exactly. And I find myself questioning that each and every day. It's like, we obviously didn't watch the same film, even though I know we're talking about the same product.
Yeah. And especially in a very special situation for this movie in particular is that now the audience are divided now.
And I really can't find any real reason why they wouldn't be. Because this movie, there is a lot to really take from this.
Yeah, very. Like, so much happens in this movie.
But then so much happens, and then so much stuff didn't happen.
And let's go more into that concept right now. Let's start with comfortable spot and talk about the production.
Wow, this has got to be one of the most beautiful Star Wars films I've seen in quite some time. Yeah. I mean, the aesthetics behind the scenes that were shot, the production value as far as animatronics and scenes, and the places they went to, the planets. They were really impressive.
Yeah, the cinematography was still the show, mainly for me, in this movie. It held everything together. And even though all the visual effects and the practical effects come in to me at least about 70-30, 70 being good and 30 being like off and on.
You can appreciate it. It really does set a high standard for Star Wars films as far as this is concerned in the franchise. I mean, don't get me wrong. One of the major things, the porgs. They were trying to market the hell out of these little guys, and I like porgs. I felt they were kind of cute, but I saw them in the trailers and actually haven't seen this film. I still like the porgs.
Yeah, they had a moment. They didn't.
They came in and they were out. They were not at all those little Ewoks that was in the freaking Return of the Jedi. No, these things actually serve a point, and then they're gone. And but you never really feel that because of the way the production went into this film, you really don't ever see these things in life. At least I definitely didn't. I mean, you appreciate them, you like them. That's a puppet.
Come on, man.
But then again, you have other things where the aliens, the design for the aliens, like they were cool.
And what Star Wars does well is, of course, the sound design.
Oh yeah. Because of Star Wars, a lot of the sound effects that went into it are incredibly recognizable, and yet again, when you hear them brought back in this particular franchise, you still get that same feeling you felt when you first heard like a blaster fire, or
lightsaber swinging,
or a TIE fighter slipping through the air with
the news visual of the sound with the porgs.
It's like they feel right, but at the same time, it feels like, damn, that's amazing. However, one of the other parts of the sound where it's concerned the music, the score of the movie, I feel as though this is yet again John Williams wanting. He left wanting, and he really dropped the ball.
Yeah, he's been dropping the ball since he first did the Force Awakens. Like, Rey's theme from the Force Awakens, the only thing that stood out, and a bit Kylo Ren's theme. Those themes are brought back into this film.
Although this time around they were switched around, I feel as though Kylo Ren's theme was the strongest theme that was brought to this film, and everybody else's theme, if they had one, because his theme was the only thing that stuck out to me.
Yeah, and I know that like the film with the score. Like I don't know if it was like intentional, like it was pulling back and forth. Like maybe I want to like let's call back some familiar things from the past, and I want to do something new. But the thing is, because how this movie is, like it keeps on going 2 steps forward and then 90 steps back. Like,
it's like really, it's like you. I see where you're going, and I was like, I'm with you. You actually made me want to follow you. And then at some point, you decide that I'm not sure too. I'm not really sure, guys. And you want to pull us back. We were doing a zip around. I was like, no, let's continue going. And this movie just keeps on tugging at you that way.
Yeah, and it's like that type of push and pull type effect that this movie has on it affects the characters.
Which I feel as though is the correct way, is the next start we need to go into. Let's talk about those characters. A lot of characters were introduced in this film, and a lot of familiar faces.
A lot of storylines, actually.
Yeah.
You actually do feel the runtime in this. Oddly enough, usually Star Wars films are
because they're really action packed, and the storylines are supposed to be really engaging. You don't care about the runtime, but this one, I mean, it's not like it's a chore to watch this film. It really wasn't. I mean, I definitely I was still a little bit entertained, but at the same time, you still felt like I'm starting to see that we're here a little longer than we should be.
And with these multiple storylines going places, this movie is very much a character-driven piece because of that. And let's start with the main sets of characters, the Rey, Kylo, and Luke story. Because this is basically, if you want to find any type of central story in this film, it's
those three. Those three are supposed to be the ones supposed to be driving this new series. I want to go back and let's address Rey. I did not like Rey when she was in The Force Awakens. I didn't like The Force Awakens at all. I made that quite clear in so many damn videos. But I mean, she was like the major one I really did not care for. Surprised to say, that was not the case this time around, but I feel as though, even though that was the case, I ended up actually liking Rey a little bit. I feel as though she really had nothing to really do in this film.
Yeah. Daisy Ridley, she brings so much nuance to this character. Man, she brought nuance to the character in the first film. I'll give her that as an actress, thankfully. But this film, going into the story, more and more you dive into her character, you start you pull away those layers from her. She starts to become really dull. Yeah, she just becomes like that other character in the film.
Yeah, and that's really concerning to me.
Yeah,
it's like you introduce her as supposed to be this major character, she's supposed to be this big thing to hit the Star Wars universe, and then when this movie goes forward into the story and they start revealing more stuff about her, she doesn't become all that more interesting anymore. Everybody else do.
Yeah. Actually, it decided to go on the other direction and actually make Kylo Ren the main character now.
And I was impressed, considering that when he was introduced, I mean, I liked when he was first introduced, the first 15 to 20 minutes into Force Awakens, I liked him. And then after the certain part there, there's an interrogation scene, he dies for me. In this film, they somewhat re-energize that spark that I had for him in the first 15 to 20 minutes of The Force Awakens.
And I think that's mainly due to they decided to develop a relationship between Rey and Kylo Ren.
That was really cool. What they did with those two characters in this film was really impressive.
But even though they having this really strong character-related connection between the two, like that's where the really strongest part of the story comes in. You actually start seeing also a tipping point as to where the story really wants to follow.
There's a specific part in this film where that build-up that they bring throughout this entire through that relationship hits a climax, and then when it hits it at that particular part of this film, it immediately falls apart.
And this, give or take, this mainly happens because of Luke's character. Luke is the glue between this relationship.
They built this character up to be so mysterious, so impressive, so important. And don't get me wrong, they definitely bring back the allure that he had in the original trilogy, but yet again, because of certain directions towards the end to the end of the storyline of this film, and really the storyline that they decided to go with this franchise, it dies, and then you don't really care when it does. Like similar towards what happened to Han Solo.
Oh god, Han Solo. Like I don't feel as though in this as a standalone film, Luke's character is a throwaway as much as Han Solo was in Force Awakens.
Yeah, he definitely had a purpose,
but the overall effect to the whole series of Star Wars, it really calls the question: what was I watching?
What was the point? No, what was my point in watching this?
Yeah, that's
why was it there?
And that's also goes to Leia's character.
I had so much high hopes for this character that they was going to really go ahead and make her own, and they don't do that. They give her a small part, something really cool that they do with her in the beginning of this film, and that's it.
And like you start saying the character's fading away,
and that's such a sad thing.
And like,
I mean, that's dishonor to the actress and the character, because there was so much you could have done. That's my problem with this series and with the entire Star Wars series, franchise, is that there's definitely stories to be told. And to be honest with you, it can be done, because I've seen it happen through other individuals taking the aesthetic behind Star Wars in fan films. I've seen so many fan films that came out on YouTube alone, and they're impressive. Some of them I would love to become full-fledged movies.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need to be watching that rather than watching this.
Yeah. And the thing is, the storyline that people complain about when going to this movie was the Finn and Rose characters.
Oh yeah, I do not get the hate that these characters are getting. Considering, I mean, I didn't like Finn's storyline in Force Awakens. I feel as though they did dishonor to John Boyega and Finn in entirety by making him a freaking janitor bullcrap, and they really, I mean, because you built him up in the market.
And they don't do anything with the janitor after, like,
yeah, that's thrown away. But like you said, they built him up in at least in the Force Awakens marketing, that he was supposed to be this really big character, especially since he's the first character you really introduced to at all. And then somehow in the movie they decided to throw him away in favor of Rey's character, which is one of the reasons why I didn't really like Rey's, because they threw everybody else's storylines away to service her. Yeah. And then in this film, it's like they did the opposite, did everybody else's. It's like, you can't do that. Yeah. Like I said, in this film, Finn and Rose, Rose being the new character, new resistance, rebel resistance.
Resistant.
Okay,
it's so interchangeable nowadays.
Yeah, exactly. There's no real point. A lot of people try to complain that they really had no purpose. No, they definitely served a purpose in this film.
They had more of a purpose in this film than Poe Dameron's storyline,
which is astounding considering he was such a likable character in this film. He had so many cool scenes, and then his storyline is like, when you look at it compared towards what they did with Finn and Rose's storyline, it's like, he really had nothing to do. Yeah. He was literally depending on them to finish up theirs.
Yes. Well, like, I don't know where the divide with this storyline came to be, but people talk about the wrong situation here. Here's Poe and the rest of the Resistance. They're literally waiting.
Yeah, they were
literally waiting. They dragged down the story. Not Rose and Finn's character story. No, they went somewhere. But not Poe's. So don't get that twisted.
And then you had Laura Dern's character. I don't know. I don't remember who she was playing. I forgot the name of that character.
She took in charge when in the story.
There's a certain part in the story where she takes charge, and it was like there was really nothing to do with her, but she has a nice finish. She has one of the most actually stylish finishes in the Star Wars series.
It goes back to the real production show.
But after that, it's like that's it. That was really all that she brought to it.
And I was like, we're just gonna say the throwaway characters at this point. Captain Phasma, I don't know why.
There was no point to Captain Phasma. You built her up to be something, and you just throw her away. That was it. She was there, and she was gone.
General Hux became a laughing joke.
He became the star screen with the series, in my opinion. And to be honest with you, I don't know how to. Actually, I really don't know what to feel about General Hux. I don't know what to feel about.
The visually throwaway character Snoke.
Oh my god! I did not get the point behind this character at all.
Andy Serkis is so much better.
He is better than this film. And he's better than this franchise for them to put him in here. And then the talk about one of the lower points towards aesthetics. There was no real reason why this character was CGI. You could have done this practically. He was not. I mean, there's no real reason why you had to bring him. Why Andy Serkis could have been literally dressed up to be, Supreme Leader Snook.
Unfortunately enough, if you did not watch The Force Awakens, there's no reason why you'll understand anything that happens in this movie. And to talk about The Force Awakens and this movie should, these two movies should be combined.
They really should. To be honest with you, there is a part where this movie could have fit in. There is a part in The Force Awakens where there's an interrogation scene between Rey and Kylo Ren, and immediately after that scene, that's where this movie could have fit in. Because the rest of The Force Awakens was throwaway. You really didn't need any of that. You could literally have this film to be attached to it, and then you would have had a movie. Yeah. Then we could have went on with what should have been Star Wars Episode 8. This should have been Star Wars Episode 7.
Yes. Those two combined.
Mm-hmm.
That all being said, I don't know where to rank this movie as far as Star Wars movies goes.
The Star Wars movie is in general. I don't know what to give it. I don't want to give it a failure because at the same time, this only real failure is because this is an incomplete film. For not being a part of a previous film that it should have been.
Yeah. And it's just a shame that there's a lot of good things that happens in this movie.
They actually span, and they do and they don't expand upon the Force, which was a big concern to me in The Force Awakens. Considering The Force Awakens was named The Force Awakens, and it never felt like it actually really awoken at all.
Like it stirred.
It stirred. It literally is like got up.
Like it was like shaking, like somebody shaking somebody get a bit.
And it's like they groved a little bit. Like I'll get up in a minute, and they went back to sleep. That's what happens. Yeah. And in this movie, they actually did feel like it literally woke up.
Unfortunately enough, how this movie goes is this movie began where the last movie ended, but the thing is, this movie ended
where the first movie began. It's like you didn't go anywhere.
This movie does so much, but nothing really happens. And this feeds all into Disney. Disney clearly just making this movie, this franchise, as just continuous money cash grabs.
And to be honest with you, I don't see a reason why I need to feed more into it, or why anybody else should. Because there's nothing. If you want a quick buck thrill, maybe you gotta go ahead and go watch this. But that's all you're gonna get.
Yeah.
You're not getting any real morals or storylines that's gonna come from this. It's the same story. It's the same crap. And I guess when they wanted to say that was the whole point behind Star Wars supposed to be as a continuous circle. Well, yeah, guess what?
Lazy storytelling.
It's lazy storytelling, but then again, there's an easier way and a better way you could have done that storytelling too. It's a continuous circle, but there's always a new element being added, a new perspective, a new element being added, and they don't do that. It's the same stuff, time and time again, and it doesn't go nowhere. And this series deserves something more than that, and they don't want to do it. It really doesn't.
At this point, I'm done with Star Wars.
At least I'm done with the major motion films. I'm still gonna watch the cartoon series.
I'm gonna finish up Rebels.
Yeah, because Rebels is amazing. I love Rebels. If you haven't watched that series, you need to, because it's really great. And watch the Clone Wars and in the both series, both the cartoon animated series and the 3D animated one, because they're both really, really good. But that's all we have for this particular review. As always, if you like our videos, please like, share, and subscribe, and hit that little bell wherever it is on
and follow us on Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah,
they're there.
So as always, I'm Aaron.
I'm Adam,
and this has been a Seeking Media Productions. Watch you next time.
Thank you.